This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Cyberhack fallout. Nova Scotia Power customers grow frustrated trying to protect themselves from fraud.
Suspected human remains. The family of a missing Cape Breton man hopes their search is over.
As the anthem reminds us, the true north is indeed strong and free.
Speech from the throne. Applause for King Charles as he opens Parliament.
Not a cloud in the sky across much, if not all, of Nova Scotia today. Temperatures for most areas well above that seasonal average. The question I'm being asked a lot, how long will this stick around? I'll have the answer, your full forecast, just ahead.
Good evening. Some of the people who received Nova Scotia Power's warning letter about stolen customer information are sharing how frustrated they're feeling trying to deal with the situation.
The letter advised people to take a number of steps to do what they can to protect themselves. But as Gareth Hampshire tells us, it has not been smooth for some.
We are currently experiencing longer than average wait times to speak with an agent. To continue waiting for an agent, press 1.
This is the message many Nova Scotians have been listening to this week when trying to call the credit monitoring agency TransUnion. It was recommended in Nova Scotia Power's letter warning about stolen personal information that happened in a ransomware attack.
Really, I would say it's been already 10, 12 hours of time trying to deal with this.
Retired teacher Brian Yee started calling the number yesterday.
Super exasperating and frustrating. I'm unsure of the apology from Nova Scotia Power. It feels like really the responsibility is back on the consumer.
He finally gets to talk to someone and receives a temporary password to get into his account. Diane Newman Betts has spent the last week and a half scrambling to figure out how $30,000 went missing from her and her husband Michael's bank account, transferred from a line of credit.
It was a terrible, terrible feeling. We were both really sick to our stomachs for the last week and a half. It was really awful.
She noticed the money had been taken on May 15th in her online banking and then got the letter from Nova Scotia Power.
And so for this to happen to us and then have the letter arrive, that's when we connected it all. It had to be that. There was no other reason.
She still cannot be sure it happened because of the ransomware attack, but got good news today. Her bank called to say they're putting the money back into the account. Her first call was to her husband, who was at work.
Hi, honey.
Hi.
Guess what?
You got the money?
Yes. Yes, Manulife. I know. What a relief. Manulife just called. Just called, and oh my gosh, I'm so relieved.
Manulife released a statement to say it takes all reports of unauthorized activity seriously and protecting clients remains a top priority. Nova Scotia Power has not provided any update on the situation today. Gareth Hampshire, CBC News, Halifax.
The family of Justin McDonald is hoping the search is finally over. The 34-year-old has been missing since July, and police declared his case a homicide in November. Yesterday, police say a person found human remains along Morley Road in rural Cape Breton. CBC's Kyle Moore has the story.
It was on this rural Cape Breton road that human remains were found by a person walking in the area at around 5 p.m. on Monday. As police continue their investigation, Ken McDonald is staying close by. His 34-year-old son, Justin McDonald, has been missing for almost a year, and he's been searching every day since.
With this find, we're just hoping. We can't say anything definitive because of the forensic situation, but we're hopeful. That may be him.
Police declared McDonald's disappearance a homicide in November. 2 men have been charged with second-degree murder, robbery, and assault in the case. 1 other man was charged with manslaughter and robbery.
I don't know if you can say it's kind of like a horror story, and it just hasn't stopped. It's kind of been so repetitive over the last 323 days it is now. Knowing that, Justin's been missing, he's been somewhere. Knowing that he's no longer with us and still having to search has been probably one of the hardest situations a family ever would have to endure.
Part of the Morley Road here was closed for public access today. Police say they will remain on scene for a few days yet as their investigation continues. They did decline an interview request today, only saying they'll provide more information once it becomes available. A forensic identification unit was still at the scene on Tuesday and is working with the medical examiner's office to identify the remains. McDonald's family is hoping for closure.
It's absolutely a necessity for the family to be able to bring Justin home and take him to where he belongs and put him to rest.
His parents are hoping the search is finally over and say they'll comment when they know more. Kyle Moore, CBC News, Sydney.
King Charles officially opened a new session of Canadian Parliament today with a speech from the throne. It was a moment steeped in deep Canadian tradition and some political significance.
As the anthem reminds us, the true north is indeed strong and free. Members of the House of Commons, you will be asked to appropriate the funds to carry out the services and expenditures authorised by Parliament. May you honour the profound trust bestowed upon you by Canadians. And may God bless and guide you in all your duties.
It was the first time a reigning monarch has done so since his mother, Queen Elizabeth, in 1977. The speech was a chance to assert Canada's sovereignty after repeated claims by U.S. President Donald Trump that it should become America's 51st state. The King's presence is largely symbolic, but it also sends a political message as a blueprint of the government's priorities and goals and how it plans to accomplish them.
All right, Jay's in for Ryan again tonight, and boy, what a day. This was spectacular.
Yeah, certainly a turnaround from yesterday.
Yeah, it's on days like this, the shoulder's getting sore, all of the high fives, everyone around the office. I wish I could take credit for the nice days like this. Unfortunately, then I have to take the blame when it's not so nice, and the weekend is not looking as nice as what we saw today. And Ryan will be returning tomorrow on a high note because it's going to be potentially even a smidge warmer tomorrow, just as sunny across the province as well. But as we take a look at those daytime highs today, I mean, you had that wind coming in off the water in a few spots. It was a little bit cooler for coastal areas. And if you were looking at that marine influence with an onshore sea breeze, but inland areas up in the low to mid-20s for most of Nova Scotia today, and that sunshine uninterrupted for most areas through the day as well. We'll see a mainly clear sky this evening, overnight, and tomorrow morning. Any clouds we do see eastern areas generally or coastal areas, but for the most part, we're going to be looking at even milder conditions into the afternoon tomorrow for inland areas. Halifax potentially hitting 24, 25 degrees if you're near the water. Might be a little bit cooler, but not bad at all. Lots of vitamin D, lots of sunshine for your forecast ahead for your Wednesday. And I'll be back a little later to let you know how the weekend is shaping up. It's only Tuesday, but we'll take a look ahead because, man, oh, man, would be nice to have this kind of weather for the weekend.
Oh, would it ever?
We can hope.
Okay, thanks so much, Jay.
Thank you, Jay.
MLAs heard concerns today from First Nations leadership about the lack of consultation on the provincial government's push for more natural resource development. Officials say they do not oppose all projects, but they expect to be included early in conversations, and so far that is not happening. Michael Gorman reports.
This meeting of the legislature's Natural Resource Committee was billed as an opportunity to discuss the way the government is implementing its critical mineral strategy. But straight out of the gates, the chief of Pictou Landing First Nation expressed concern about the process the government has used to drive for an increased emphasis on natural resource development. That process has included passing legislation to lift bans on fracking and uranium exploration and mining, as well as a recent call for proposals for uranium exploration. The chief says there was no consultation on any of that.
We have serious concerns about how provincial decisions are being made without advance notice to and transparent conversations with the Mi'kmaq. Too often, we are informed only after decisions are made, which erodes trust and hinders progress in the nation-to-nation relationship we are working to build.
The province's Deputy Minister of Natural Resources says the government remains committed to its duty to consult with First Nations, and it pledges to do so on a project-by-project basis. But the deputy also acknowledged the concern that chiefs have expressed that they're finding out about government developments through the news when they ought to be included in the conversation much sooner.
I think it absolutely can happen, and I think that we bring them, as the Chiefs team said, bring them in early, have a fulsome discussion, be part of it. We've done it in other sectors, such as wind, energy. There's no reason we can't do it in this as well.
Gaishan also clarified details around the recent call for proposals to explore for uranium in the province. She says that private landowners do have the ability to say no to that option. But the deputy hopes that those property owners will at least consider having a conversation with the government before making a final decision. Michael Gorman, CBC News at Province House.
The town of Bridgewater launched a pilot program offering incentives for landlords to make energy-efficient upgrades to their properties. But so far, no one has taken up the offer. As Juliana Grillo reports, this may have to do with a lack of immediate financial gains for those landlords.
For landlords, whatever efficiency Nova Scotia's rebates don't cover, the town offers to finance at an interest rate of 2%, with some limitations. That's what a pilot program in Bridgewater promises. But Leon DeVriet says nobody has signed up for it yet since it launched in December. He says it may be because there is no immediate financial benefit for the landlords, especially if they don't pay for the tenant's power.
There's not a lot of incentive for landlords to make improvements to the properties because they don't ultimately feel the pain from those high costs of energy.
And there may be another reason. To be eligible for the program, landlords need to commit to being affordable for the next 12 years. That means rents needs to be at or below the current rental rates in the area, which in Bridgewater is $711 for a one-bedroom apartment with no utilities. Annette Hubley, a landlady in Bridgewater, says it is not the best path for some landlords who want to stay in the middle of market prices.
We would probably not take advantage of some of the programs because of the commitment of and the rules around affordable housing.
A former landlord says some who are interested in upgrading their properties may kick energy efficiency down the road. He says landlords have to worry about other costs, such as paying taxes, mortgages, and repairs.
When you can't pay your taxes at the end of the year because you have no profit, those become secondary and you kick it down the road again.
Robert Dyke says landlords should still make these upgrades because they add value to their property in the long run. He says it also makes the properties more attractive to tenants looking for places with cheaper power and heating. DeVriet says making homes more efficient through better insulation and heat pumps could lower energy poverty in town, which already affects 38% of residents. Juliana Grillo, CBC News, Halifax.
Halifax is creating a team to enforce the rules for short-term rentals like Airbnbs. The current bylaw allows entire homes or bedrooms to be rented in residential areas only if the owner lives there. That rule doesn't apply if the property is in commercial zones where hotels are allowed. Councillors say they still get complaints about illegal rentals, and sometimes the owners aren't even in the country. But new federal money will be used to hire more enforcement staff like compliance officers.
Are we effectively enforcing that now? I would say no, because it goes in the queue with everything else from, illegal businesses, home businesses, lighting issues, all kinds of things. But the short-term rental enforcement fund gives us that ability with that funding to specifically hone in on short-term rental.
Halifax is also streamlining rules in rural districts to allow more short-term rentals in areas like the Eastern Shore.
Several months into Nova Scotia's internal travel nurse program, 8 people have been hired. The year-long pilot program aims to hire 30 people and is based out of the emergency department at Aberdeen Hospital in New Glasgow. The president of the Nova Scotia Nurses Union says a big factor in whether the program is a success is if nurses are working enough hours to build up additional guaranteed time off.
We need to make sure that they work enough when they're going to another location, that they don't have to use their own time when they come home. But we have to make sure that we balance that with safety to make sure they're not working too much. So I think the scheduling is going to be the issue that's either going to make or break this.
Participating nurses have their accommodations and travel covered, along with higher hourly wages, while remaining employees of Nova Scotia Health.
Home support workers in Cape Breton held a rally outside of Sydney City Hall earlier today. The workers have been bargaining with the province for guaranteed hours, improved health and safety conditions, and fair wages. Their union, the Canadian Union of Public Employees, have been unable to reach an agreement for nearly 2 years. National President Mark Hancock spoke to the crowd.
You know, none of us want to be here. None of us wants to take any type of job action. But damn it, sometimes you just got to say enough is enough and put our tools down and hit the bricks.
4 Nova Scotia CUPE local groups have voted in favor of strike action.
Halifax art collective Radstorm have a big reason to celebrate.
They recently purchased the Gottingen Street building they've occupied since 2018.
The Radstorm Collective has been fundraising to buy the building for several years. They announced last weekend that they had reached their goal thanks to a $450,000 donation from retired physician Bob Fredrickson.
Fredrickson is best known for treating hundreds of people with HIV/AIDS during the worst of that pandemic. The 77-year-old says he's happy he was able to give back to the community he's been a part of for so many years.
I just think this is exactly why we have this place and exactly why it needs to continue. Look at these people. You come there in the regular daytime, there's people who are committed to doing different things, and they're all supportive of each other, and this is the place they can do it. What better thing could you give to this city except to continue this on, you know?
The purchase was also supported through community donations and a contribution of $100,000 from the Halifax Regional Municipality. Oh, isn't that just adorable?
The whole family's out tonight.
Out for a swim. Jay is up next with the full weather forecast. We're back after the break.
The weather update is brought to you by Tourisme Gaspésie. Plan your stay in Gaspésie at tourismegaspésie.com and enjoy extraordinary moments.
And Jay is back with the full forecast, and it's shaping up to be a pretty good one for tomorrow.
Sure looks like it.
Oh, yeah. Lots of sunshine tomorrow. Temperatures might even be just a degree or two warmer as well. It'll be a little breezier at times, but not bad at all. We're looking at a very nice one for your Wednesday. We start to see some clouds building in come Thursday, but Thursday's still shaping up to be nice. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there's some showers. Temperatures won't be as warm. We'll see that in your 7-day forecast. Not bad, though. Not as bad as what we saw, certainly that recent stretch of weather before that warmth returned. But look at those daytime highs today. Absolutely fantastic conditions. If you managed to get out in that sunshine, hopefully you remembered sun safety, because we did have a very high UV index today. That will be the case tomorrow as well. Sunscreen for the kiddos. Make sure they know to reapply, and make sure they've got a hat at the ready as well. Going to need to keep the sun off of them, because there will be no cloud cover to assist in that front for your Wednesday. So clear sky across the province right now, and across all 3 maritime provinces. We will look at maybe a few passing clouds this evening. As we move through the overnight hours tonight, you may see a bit of passing cloud cover working its way across eastern areas, namely up into Cape Breton. That could push into the morning hours tomorrow before dissipating to a mainly sunny sky there. Uninterrupted sunshine, though, consistently across the forecast models for mainland Nova Scotia. And we'll say a sun-cloud mix for eastern areas, but leaning more towards the sunnier side of that mix for much of the day. The wind generally coming in from the west tomorrow. So if you're going to see a cooling effect, it's if you're downwind of the water with that wind coming in from the west. And as we take a look into Thursday, starting out with a fair amount of sunshine, starting to see early in the morning those clouds building in for the south shore. And then we'll say passing clouds through the afternoon. Still plenty of sun breaks, just maybe a few cloudy periods through the middle part of the day. Although late Thursday, those clouds do start to increase. We do have a system that is developing that will bring some wet weather into Friday. Good chance we could see some showers on Saturday, even into Sunday possible as well. And temperatures will not be quite as warm as what we enjoyed today, tomorrow, and Thursday, but not bad, at least close to or around that seasonal average as we take a look at the weekend forecast. So through the overnight hours tonight, temperatures under a clear sky. Again, may see a few passing clouds for eastern areas, but you'll be looking at a clear sky with temperatures generally between 7 and 10 degrees. Now, inland low-lying areas could dip down to around 3, 4, 5 degrees. There is a slight chance for some fog patches. Not looking to see any major risk of frost tonight, as the temperature should be a degree or two too warm for that, even on the cooler end. But if you've got plants out there that you care about and you're in a frost-prone area, inland, low-lying, you may want to take precautions, because these temperatures here will certainly be warmer than what you'll see for those spots. As we take a look to the afternoon tomorrow, lots of sunshine, and even where we are seeing a few clouds for eastern areas, it is still mainly sunny for a good chunk of the day. We will see temperatures up into the low to mid-20s for most areas. You see a little green on the map here. This is just where we're seeing that marine influence. So the wind coming in from the west will keep temperatures around 15, 16 degrees if you're near the water. Inland areas, though, with that daytime heating and that wind not being from the north, should be seeing those temperatures up between 20 and 25 degrees. Maybe add a degree with a humidex, but we're not looking at any significant humidity. So it will be warm, it will be sunny, maybe a little bit breezy for coastal areas, but still very comfortable across the province. Lovely conditions for your Wednesday. We'll see more of a mix of sun and cloud on Thursday as those clouds do start to build in. Now, they do increase into Thursday night, so you'll start to see those clouds increasing ahead of some wet weather Thursday night into Friday morning. Could see a few breaks of sunshine through the second half of your Friday, and then we're back to overcast conditions or mainly cloudy conditions on Saturday. Some off and on showers, even some steadier pockets of rain will be possible. Temperatures will be on the cooler side as well. Saturday night into Sunday, it does become quite windy. We could be looking at some pretty strong wind gusts, 50 to 60 kilometer per hour range on Sunday. Morning showers, then the breaks of sunshine return for the afternoon, and it's near seasonal. Not bad, but we get into some drier conditions Monday and Tuesday of next week. I wish I could cut and paste your Wednesday forecast into Saturday and Sunday, but after a good stretch of 3 or 4 days of sunny, mild weather, wet weather is not a bad thing to keep the grass green and keep that fire risk down.
Yeah,
that is true.
Stay optimistic. Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you, Jay.
Coming up, a city councillor is raising concerns about how Halifax Water got word out about a major boil water order earlier this year. An HRM councillor took Halifax Water to task for several flaws in how it communicated a major boil water last winter. He called it, quote, another failure in our critical emergency communications, demanding answers to serious questions. John St. Amand is the Bedford-Wentworth Council member with us from City Hall today. Sir, you have had concerns about how the city communicated a boil water advisory last winter, and you let them know. You let Halifax Water know. You know, where did you think that Halifax Water fell down on this one?
Well, more than anything, I was interested in understanding what the policies were around notification for something that was urgent, and what defines urgency as far as a notification is concerned for an incident like this with Halifax Water. So, you know, the questions that I wound up sending to staff at Halifax Water were really focused on what those policies and procedures were, and where I felt like the policies and procedures as executed had missed the mark.
And I gather you were hearing from residents. They were expressing frustration to you about this, and you were passing that along.
Yeah, understandably. I heard from quite a number of residents that were looking for answers from their elected officials. And, you know, we councillors are the front-facing representatives for the city. So they were reaching out to me, demanding answers. And so I, in turn, wound up sending questions with some, you know, fairly blunt but deliberate observations as to where I felt like we missed the mark in being able to ensure that residents were fully aware of what the circumstances were and what the actions were that were expected of them.
Okay, an important topic because increasingly lots of people are concerned about the way the municipality or their CMP or any other group in the province is communicating with them when there is need to know information. Can you just remind us of how it played out from where you sat?
Well, I know that I received an email from Halifax Water early in that morning, and it might have been around the time that HFX alerts had been used to volley an initial notification to residents. But the subscribership of HFX alerts is relatively limited compared to the total volume of customers that Halifax Water would represent. And so when I received the email from Halifax Water, I immediately posted about it on my social media channels to make my attempt to notify residents in my area. Challenge is, I have a very limited audience. I'm a newly elected member. I don't have the tens of thousands of followers that my predecessor had, and it takes a little while to develop that critical mass to make sure that people are aware of what's happening. So I made every effort to get the information out, and I asked everybody that follows me on social media to reshare the information to the community groups that are all around the district. And it was relatively successful in helping get the information out, and that was even ahead of Halifax Water making a formal announcement on its own social media channels to be able to help residents be aware of what was going on. What my posts lacked was any specific direction on what to do other than boil water. I didn't have any information about how long that might last, whether or not there were other ramifications to the boil water advisory. I just wanted to get the basic information out to them as quickly as I could.
Okay, and HFX Alert is subscription based, and social media is not perfect either because not everyone is on social media.
Not everybody's there, and the algorithms determine who sees what. And that's one of the frustrating things about that particular conduit for communicating with residents. You know, you'll have even people that follow me won't see my message necessarily on the same day. It might get served up to them 2 or 3 days after a time-sensitive notification has gone out. So it's just not useful for emergency circumstances.
Yeah, so what would have been better?
Well, that's the real challenge. I thought that the provincial alert system that had been used for the prior boil water advisory was, in my mind, it was an appropriate tool to use. I don't know, particularly since I had only just gotten into the job a couple months earlier, I didn't know what all of the criteria were in order to be able to initiate an emergency alert that uses the cellular network. And so, you know, while from the outside looking in, or really, I guess, in some respects, I was an insider looking in, that was one of the questions that I posed to Halifax Water, was what triggers the ability to use it? Because it was used in the boil water advisory the year before, but then this most recent instance, it didn't get used, and I wanted to understand what the difference was between the two.
Okay. So questions around that. You also had concerns about communications between Nova Scotia Power and Halifax Water, having to do with numbers, the contact numbers being out of date, that kind of thing. How satisfied are you that any of these issues have been resolved and things might be different the next time?
Well, I understand from the Executive Standing Committee meeting just yesterday or the day before, that particular issue has been resolved. There is now a 24-hour phone line that is used by Nova Scotia Power to communicate with Halifax Water so that any urgent issue can be brought to their attention directly, and that is an in-person contact as opposed to the, what I understand was a robocall disconnection that occurred during the boil water advisory back in January.
Are you feeling more confident things will be different this time around?
I believe so. Yeah, I mean, you know, ultimately, I have confidence that not only Halifax Water, but the municipality in general is always looking to continuously improve its processes. And so when a gap is identified, we're not too shy about introspectively looking at what we can do better next time.
Sir, I appreciate your time today. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thanks, Tom.
Coming up, Palestinian health officials say Israeli airstrikes have killed dozens of people sheltering in a school in Gaza.
And labor crunch. A shortage of air traffic controllers is testing the patience of pilots and passengers. Welcome back. As we mentioned earlier, King Charles delivered the speech from the throne to officially open Parliament in Ottawa. It's the first time a monarch has read it in nearly 50 years.
It touched on Canada-U.S. relations and spoke of Canada's place on the world stage as an independent and sovereign nation. Ashley Burke was listening from the Senate and has the story.
A royal parade for the history books, designed to put Canada's sovereignty on full display. The pomp and pageantry of this two-day visit, all building up to the main event. The King entering the Senate to read the speech from the throne. A first for a monarch in nearly half a century. The King meeting first with a chamber packed with senators, premiers, and former prime ministers. Then starting his speech on a personal note.
Every time I come to Canada, a little more of Canada seeps into my bloodstream, and from there, straight to my heart.
In his own words, the King sending a message to the world.
I've always had the greatest admiration for Canada's unique identity, which is recognized across the world for bravery and sacrifice in defense of national values and for the diversity and kindness of Canadians.
He acknowledged this is a critical moment for Canada and ended with praise for a country he calls a force of good.
As the anthem reminds us, the true North is indeed strong and free.
Everybody was applauding, and nobody was stopping. I thought we would have clapped in there for 5 minutes.
We are not Americans, and we don't feel we have to tell people that, but it was just very clear what is distinct about our national identity.
A moment of national unity as politicians from across the country got up close.
Canada is a different country. Canada is an ambitious country. And, that's a powerful message, like I said, not only for our friends down south, but around the world.
We have an entire country that is making it clear to the U.S. that we are independent and free and not interested in being part of the United States. If this doesn't get through to President Trump, I don't know what will.
The speech from the throne also laid out the government's priorities, from building more housing to addressing the cost of living and spending more in defense to protect Canada's sovereignty. But the Conservatives leader says he needs more details ahead of a vote, and that will be the government's next big test. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
While not everyone could get in to watch King Charles deliver the throne speech, thousands of Canadians still flocked to Ottawa to catch a glimpse of the royal couple. Rafi Boudjikanian spoke to them about this historic day.
Before most people were at work, the Keeners were on watch duty.
I got here at 7:30 because I knew there would be a crowd. And as a proud monarchist, I'm very, very happy to be here and would always want to kind of get a front shot of the king.
The national capital got so crowded most people indeed only caught a glimpse. But for this group that traveled hours from Ontario's Kawartha region, still closer than they've ever been, despite the much further distances they've previously gone.
It's just so exciting. Yeah, been waiting a long time to see them in person. So we've gone to London a couple of times, but never got to see them anyway.
A momentous occasion even for those who have yet to see much of the world.
She may not remember this day, but we'll take lots of photos.
We gave away 500.
No pictures for these royal supporters, but they brought their own edible effigies.
I'm here because my mom, 95, she got out of bed and voted. She believes in Canada, in the freedom that we have.
But not everyone who showed up in Ottawa was as sweet on the King and Queen.
In the name of standing up to Trump and the U.S., Carney is bringing a relic of feudalism, the monarchy, as a means to supposedly defend the sovereignty of Canada.
Pleasure to meet you, Charles. Recent polling shows 45% of Canadians support this visit to open Parliament. Fewer people got to shake the King's hand, but they sure tried.
Just amazing to see that they're here, that they came to Canada.
A trip that ended with this solemn moment, the crowd clearing for the King to lay a wreath at the National War Memorial, the very monument unveiled by his grandfather, the first reigning monarch to visit Canada 86 years ago. Rafi Boudjikanian, CBC News, Ottawa.
Police in England have released new information after a vehicle plowed into a crowd of Liverpool soccer fans on Monday. Dozens were injured and rushed to hospital, where 11 remain in stable condition. A 53-year-old suspect is under arrest on suspicion of attempted murder and several other offences. Willem Marx has the latest from London.
Less than 24 hours after a Ford Galaxy minivan travelling at speed hit dozens of pedestrians in the city centre of Liverpool, where soccer fans were celebrating their team's victory in this year's Champions League competition. Police have issued an update talking about how exactly the vehicle got into that pedestrianised area.
It is believed the driver of the Ford Galaxy car involved in this incident was able to follow an ambulance onto Water Street after the roadblock was temporarily lifted, so that the ambulance crew could attend to a member of the public who was having a suspected heart attack.
There were armed police on the scene, but there had been no intelligence that there was this kind of threat as a possibility. They have continued to say this is not terrorism related.
Our detectives are speaking to any witnesses, including those injured, witnesses at the scene and emergency responders as we seek to get a full picture of exactly what happened. In addition, extensive CCTV inquiries are being carried out across the city to establish the movements of the car, a Ford Galaxy, before the incident took place.
More than 60 people were injured in the incident, 50 of them hospitalised. The suspect was a 53-year-old man from West Derby, close to Liverpool. He was arrested on charges of attempted murder, dangerous driving and driving while under the influence of drugs. Willem Marks, CBC News, London.
A new aid distribution system in Gaza has opened its first hub there. It's called the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, and it's backed by Israel and the U.S. But the UN has some concerns about the organization. Tom Perry reports.
There were some chaotic scenes as this new organization, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, began handing out assistance. At one of its distribution centers today, video shows people overrunning the site, many of them making off with boxes of aid. Now, the group is playing it down. It says that at one point, yes, there were a lot of people looking for aid. It says that its personnel stepped back, and it says allowed a small number of people to take aid, but it says operations are back to normal and that it managed to distribute around 8,000 boxes of assistance today. Now, the reason why this group really even exists, it's backed by the United States and by Israel. Israel says that under the United Nations, food aid was being siphoned off, stolen essentially by Hamas, either for its own fighters or to be sold on the black market. The United Nations rejects that, and today it weighed in on the controversy.
We do not participate in this modality for the reasons that we have given. It is a distraction from what is actually needed, which is a reopening of all the crossings into Gaza, a secure environment within Gaza, and faster facilitation of permissions and final approvals of all the emergency supplies that we have just outside the border and needs to get in.
Now, there have been questions around the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Who's backing it? Where's its money coming from? And humanitarian groups say that really what it's doing is militarizing, privatizing, and politicizing humanitarian assistance in Gaza. What they say, and that's the UN saying this as well, is what the Israeli government needs to do. Israel's been blockading Gaza for weeks. It says what Israel needs to do is open up the territory, make sure that aid can flow in, and make sure that the people of Gaza who desperately need assistance get it. Tom Perry, CBC News, Jerusalem.
State-run media in China says at least 5 people are dead and 19 injured in a chemical plant explosion in the eastern part of the country. 6 others are still missing. It happened in Shandong province around noon local time on Tuesday. The blast spewing plumes of smoke into the air and damaging windows in nearby buildings. It prompted a rescue operation at the factory, which employs more than 500 people, according to company records. The plant manufactures pesticides and chemicals for medical use.
At the sexual assault trial of 5 former World Junior hockey players in London, Ontario, the court heard more details related to the initial police investigation from 2018. Ali Chiasson has more, but first a warning, viewers may find some parts of the report disturbing.
So this is the first time the court has heard from any of the accused hockey players in a 2018 police interview with Michael McLeod. It was 5 months into the London police investigation. Up until then, police had only corresponded with the accused through their lawyers. Now retired Detective Steve Newton begins, quote, "I don't have any plans to arrest you or charge you." He gets McLeod to provide his account of what happened in the hotel room with EM. McLeod says after the two of them had consensual sex, he ordered food. That's when some of his teammates arrived. He names Carter Hart, one of his co-accused. He says when he returned to the room after picking up the food from the lobby, Hart was getting oral sex from EM. And quote, "She seemed completely fine with it. The other guys were just kind of hanging out on the other bed. It was kind of a little different. That didn't last too long, the blowjob. And then we kind of just hung out after that." McLeod says he remembers EM wanting to have sex with Alex Fermenton, who didn't want to in front of the others, so they went to the bathroom. Afterwards, he says when approximately 8 or 9 of his teammates are in the room, she starts offering more sex. He says this is about the time he records 2 different videos to get her consent. Quote, I was kind of worried something like this might happen, and so I just made sure she was okay with it. I just wanted to make sure she was okay with it the whole night. McLeod doesn't mention that he texted the team group chat inviting them to his room for a 3-way. Retired detective Steve Newton is the Crown's witness, testifying about his investigation, his findings, and why it was ultimately closed in 2019. Ali Chiasson, CBC News, London, Ontario.
Caught on an exclusive audio recording, a frustrated Air Canada pilot gives passengers his opinion on why flights like theirs keep being delayed. John Hernandez investigated what he told them.
It's costs the company a lot of money. It costs business people a lot of money.
Delayed and disillusioned, an Air Canada pilot vents to passengers stuck on the tarmac at Vancouver International Airport.
Since we got the time, if you want to write a letter to your MP and tell them what's going on, maybe they could address this problem.
The problem, a shortage of air traffic control workers. Delays and cancellations at YVR have been mounting for weeks, leading to this rant captured by a CBC reporter.
We believe that there's a lot of evidence that the people in charge of air traffic control, NAV Canada, are keeping, like the air traffic controllers are keeping the numbers low to keep the overtime up.
A charge denied by NAV Canada, the private nonprofit that operates air navigation across the country. It is in the midst of a major recruitment blitz to ease its labor crunch. In a statement, it said, "We leave no stone unturned in supporting a candidate's success. As a result, we refute any suggestion that controller trainees are disqualified from training in order to protect overtime." The pilots' union says the shortage is causing problems from coast to coast.
Most people that have traveled, I'll say, have noticed a delay or of some sort somewhere across the system, whether it's in YVR or elsewhere.
Smaller airlines find themselves particularly vulnerable.
Nobody likes getting delayed, and it is often the air operator that is blamed for the delay.
This Indigenous-led airline flies from YVR to Vancouver Island and reports delays nearly every day.
So we're getting delays anywhere between 20 minutes and 2 hours. And when you are operating a 25-minute flight, that's significant.
There are about 2,000 air traffic controllers in Canada. Their union says hundreds more are needed to clear these planes for takeoff. John Hernandez, CBC News, Vancouver.
The weather update is brought to you by Tourisme Gaspésie. Plan your stay in Gaspésie at tourismegaspésie.com and enjoy extraordinary moments.
Our last chance, wrap things up in the weather forecast and another chat with Jay Scotland.
Yes, and tomorrow, boy, oh boy, if I only had the day off.
I know. I feel bad. Ryan is coming back tomorrow. I wish, if I was, he's probably regretting not asking for that extra vacation day on the Wednesday. But man, oh man, it's going to be a nice one. There's not much to really show you beyond a few passing clouds early this evening. You may see a few passing clouds for eastern areas as we look up towards New Glasgow, Port Hawkesbury, up into Cape Breton into the morning hours, and then back to a mainly sunny sky there with uninterrupted sunshine from mainland Nova Scotia through the afternoon for your Wednesday. Into Thursday, we do see some clouds building in the morning for the South Shore region, reaching the HRM likely mid-morning. And then we'll see maybe a few cloudy periods in the middle part of the day, but still decent amount of sunshine for the rest of the day through the afternoon on your Thursday. And temperatures likely still over 20 degrees for inland areas on Thursday. But those clouds do increase Thursday night into Friday. We get into some wet weather at times into the weekend as well. So make the most, if you can, of your lunch break, I guess, if you're working tomorrow, as it will be a lovely one. Starting out sunny in the morning, that wind from the west, fairly light. Coastal areas, maybe a bit brisk. We'll see that temperature likely back over the double-digit mark by 7, 8 o'clock in the morning for most areas. Over 20 degrees by the noon hour. That wind will be a little brisk from the west during the middle part of the day. This will have a cooling effect if you're on a western-facing coastline or shoreline. So you can expect some areas to be 15, 16 degrees. You get away from that marine influence, though, and we're up in the low to mid-20s. Halifax area likely going to see away from the water temperatures up 23 to 25 degree range. Not much in terms of a humidex, and that wind does begin to drop off again by late afternoon. So lots of sunshine, meaning sun safety. Very high UV index again tomorrow, but if that's the biggest problem you've got in your forecast, you're doing all right.
That is true.
Oh, for sure. Okay, thanks so much, Jay.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Okay, here's something you don't want to see shipped directly to your house ever. Yikes.
Yep.
A large container ship recently ran aground in southwestern Norway, narrowly missing this house and crashing into this man's garden.
Now, he slept through the close call with the 135-meter cargo ship and only woke up after a neighbor rang the bell. The vessel had 16 crew members, and thankfully no one was hurt, and the ship has been refloated.
Ship to shore. That's it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Good night.